Rachel,
And I'm Amanda.
and this is week 8 of Books and Bingos. This week we're recommending books set on a cruise ship. So, Amanda, have you ever been on a cruise before?
No, and it's funny because I've had some scheduled before. I've researched them, did all the things, and then just something has fallen through every single time. And so I really do want to go on a cruise, though.
Interesting. Maybe you're just not destined to be on one. Maybe
Right?
you've got
What
like
about
bad luck
you?
waiting for you. I've only been on one. We were on a European trip and we did a cruise around the Greek Isles, which was amazing.
Oh, I bet.
Um, I feel like the cabins are all very, very close though and like tight. It makes me
Yeah.
anxious. So I
Yeah.
don't think cruising is my favorite way to go, but it is a great way to vacation and see a lot all in, a short span.
Yeah, that's one thing that's been appealing to me is that I could go to multiple destinations all at once. So that would be very fun to do.
Yes, just a traveling vacation. Very
Yes.
easy. All right, so do you have a first pick for us for a cruise ship book?
I do. It's funny because we were talking before we started that this was hard for me. This topic, I read a bunch of different ones in this genre, but not ones that I would definitely recommend. So I actually
Same.
ended up going into my back catalog of books that I've read before. And last summer I read We Ship It by Lauren Kay. And it is a YA realistic fiction debut for this author. But if you look at the cover, you're going to think, oh, total summer rom-com. And I feel like that's how the publishers marketed it, but it really wasn't. It dealt with a lot of heavy topics and dealt with a character that is going through some stuff. So I ended up giving it a high rating, but honestly, sometimes when publishers don't market things right, it makes me angry because students will pick this up hoping for like a lighthearted little fun summer romance. And this one actually deals with a bunch of different things happening, but I did really enjoy the Jewish representation from the main character as well as there's autism rep and LGBTQIA plus. So lots of things happening with different characters on the ship. The main character is definitely a perfectionist, so she deals with struggling with that. And there is some romance in it, deals with a little bit of insta love. But there is a family secret that Olivia is struggling with, and that's mostly what the book is about. So, if you are looking for a lot of characterization in a book, a coming of age type title, highly recommend this one.
I have a hard time when they mismarket things too because I think it does take you out of it a little bit. You
Yes.
automatically like the book, I think, less when you go in expecting one thing and they switch it on you and you get another. It's a lot
Yes.
harder to recover from that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, my first one is one that I got from my past reads list as well. I can't remember, I might have read this last summer as well. And that is Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. So this is definitely a classic. It is a cruise taking place through like Egyptian waters, obviously by the title. And we are focused on this newlywed couple that is on the ship. Hercule Poirot just happens to be on it as he is wont to do. And the newlyweds are having a little bit of a thorn in their side because the female in the couple kind of stole the guy from her best friend. She meets the guy, she decides she likes him, she's wealthy, she's used to getting what she wants. She takes the guy, but the friend is not letting this go. The friend follows her pretty much everywhere they go, and it's really making her anxious. And last minute, friend shows up on this cruise, tensions get high, someone is murdered. Poirot is on the case. There's trigger warning for all the murder, typical stuff. Definitely gaslighting, cheating, gun violence in this one. I just love this one. I like the way it all plays out. I really liked the setting in this one. And as always with an Agatha Christie, there's kind of a twist that you may or may not see coming. This would work well for mystery, thriller, and historical fiction.
Yeah, that one's definitely a classic. And has there been a movie recently
Oh
come out about
yes.
that one? Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like I've
In
seen
the
it.
new ones, yeah, they have, I think, Death on the Nile, and they did one that was kind of a different version of the book recently, which was really interesting to see what they change and what they don't change to make it kind of come into the modern
Yeah.
age.
Yeah, that sounds cool. So my second one is Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban. She is definitely one of my go-to authors for a YA thriller. I feel like she always ends up surprising me, which is kind of hard to do when we've been reading thrillers for such a long time. But this one follows a character named Jade who is doing a semester at sea program, and she ends up on board with her ex-boyfriend that cheated on her with her best friend. So definitely a little bit of what Rachel was talking about on her cruise ship. And this one's tough because she's not just like nursing a broken heart, but then there ends up one of the friends on the ship ends up dead. So they're looking at different people to see who the killer is. And they have 18 hours before they dock to prove that Jade is not the killer. And then that the killer doesn't go after her. So this one surprised me at the end. I'm always left wanting more. This one, I believe, is more of like a Knives Out type mystery. If you've ever seen that movie, it kind of follows that theme. Definitely check the content warnings on this one. I would say murder, blackmail, death, blood, vomit, alcohol, drug use, violence, injury, and cheating. So lots of things happening, but it was definitely a good suspenseful read. Had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. And this one would work with like mystery or thriller on our bingo, young adult squares if you are playing along with us.
Sounds good. My next one I feel like is a little bit cheating. The whole story doesn't take place on a cruise ship. Just the beginning takes place on a cruise ship. But that's because things really go south quickly. And that is Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. Our setup is that we have four women in their 60s who have just retired from an organization they refer to as the Museum, which is essentially a group of assassins that work outside of government agencies to eliminate people that need to be eliminated. They have worked for 40 years. They all pretty much liked what they did. They worked well together. They were like the first female squad of assassins, and they're all kind of struggling in their own ways with getting older and, their own personal situations. So they're on this cruise together as a way to, quote, celebrate their retirement. But things start seeming a little strange, and they realize that someone on the ship is there to try to assassinate them. So they all have to come together to try to save themselves and use their skills to figure out why it seems like the museum that they dedicated their lives to is coming after them to kill them. So the cruise ship doesn't last long; it ends up blowing up. But they work hard to get everybody off safely, and they make a run for it. And they're working through their contacts and all their skills to try to figure out what's happening and maybe get some vengeance if that is what they need to do to keep themselves alive. So I haven't quite finished this one yet, but as long as it keeps going the way it is, I'm going to be all on this one. It's so good. It's so interesting. And it's really funny to read about women who are this lethal, but like also dealing with like back pain and, arthritis. It's just interesting. I would say trigger warning for all the murdery assassin type stuff. People are dying left and right. There is a dual timeline, so they're flashing back to when they were young and doing their assassinations as well. So like poisons and gun violence and death and blood, all that stuff. And this would work great for a thriller or a mystery.
That sounds so fun. I've actually had it on my TBR for a while. And I thought the premise sounded like, is it cozy at all? Like it have those vibes?
I would say definitely not, because we are talking with assassins. People are being blown up and shot. And, for me, it gives like Kill Bill vibes, but like less
Oh,
dark. Do you know what I mean? It's
yes.
kind of like if it were funnier, you know? Yeah, we're actually going to be reading this with my book club soon. So I was like, this is the perfect time to read it and talk about it and be excited about it and amp everybody up.
Yes.
And those are our recommendations for the week. If you would like to share your recommendations or request a theme to be highlighted in a future show, reach out on social media at Books and Bingos or email us at booksandbingos@gmail.com. If you haven't yet, head over to tiny.cc/booksandbingos to request a Books and Bingos sticker. Thanks for listening, and join us again next week when we'll be discussing books with summer vibes. Happy reading!